Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show. And now, here's Jeff Crilley.
Well, if you're like most of us, you've already gone through a fortune in moisturizers, skincare products, solutions that all promise a fountain of youth. How do you separate fad from fiction? Joining me right now is Nathan Halsey. He's the CEO of Bellatorra. It's a skincare line that's been picked up by Barney's, and he's here to talk about what he's learned about healthcare and skincare. So, Nathan, welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
Jeff, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Now, you didn't set out to do a skincare line. It was something that you just kind of fell into, isn't it?
Yeah, so I laugh. I think back like high school or college, and you got your guidance counselors. Probably the last thing in the world I would have imagined was being in the skincare industry. So what wasn't something I planned on early on.
Well, give us the backstory. How you've actually come up with a delivery system that is revolutionizing the skincare industry.
Yeah, so prior to skincare, I was developing supplements, and with supplements, our whole thing was about the delivery system, how to get the right vitamins to the right places in the body. And I was distributing supplements in Asia, like mainland China, Southeast Asia, and over and over again, people would approach me about bringing a high-end skincare line to Asia. And so it was like late 2008, early 2009, started developing a skincare line, and ever since then I've been exclusively in skincare.
One of the taglines in your company, I know, is "timing is everything."
Yep.
Explain that.
Yeah. So we brought the concept of a delivery system to skincare, and it was kind of years in the making. But there was a couple of scientists that I met from Sweden, and they were developing a new nanotechnology that was. We ended up developing and calling them Bellaspheres, but they were. It was a nanotechnology that would take key ingredients and over a 48-hour time-released delivery system, and taking those key ingredients 7 layers deep into the skin. And it was a novel concept at the time, and still is. So we kind of have kind of branded our whole company around that.
Well, tell us why that's important to time release. I mean, if you're just using something that you get from CVS or something like that, it's not actually going down to the layers that
Correct.
need it.
Yeah. So best case scenario, it's 1 or 2 layers deep, and then you go outside, sweat or different elements. It's going to wipe off, not going to get the maximum benefit. So with our system, after a 30-minute period of time, it's already penetrated multiple layers deep. So now you're getting the effects over a 48-hour period of time.
And we're just talking about almost like microscopic.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't barely see it with a microscope. I mean, it literally is a nanosphere technology.
Wow. Okay. So it penetrates through several layers of skin, and then how does it work? Is it just moisturizing the skin, or what's the
Yeah.
science?
So we use that nanotechnology for our moisturizers, our serums, and so depending on the product and then depending on the active ingredients, it has that time released effect. Our cleanser doesn't have it, but a cleanser naturally, you're washing it off anyway.
Well, one of the things that really impresses me about you is your drive and determination. A nationally known brand like Barney's, they probably get approached all the time by different vendors who want their product, and they've got the next best thing. They've heard it all. They've seen it all. You're in Barney's. Tell us about that story.
So it's kind of funny. We're literally waiting in the waiting room at Barney's, and just like you described, I mean, you've got a room full of people that are wanting to pitch clothes or skincare or other beauty products. So I was very fortunate that a girl by the name of Eva Bowen, who's on our team, our head of sales for the United States, years and years experience, had a great relationship with Barney's, and so that got us the meeting. And then their buying department just fell in love with it. They said, hey, before we consider any brand, our buying department all use a brand for 2 weeks. And we'll kind of get back to you after they've used it. And they came back and said we love it, and so we're fortunate enough to pick up Barney's as our first client.
Nathan Halsey, the CEO of Bellatorra, is my guest on the Jeff Crilley Show. So talk about the growth of the company, because after the Barney's adopted it, you really started to build some momentum, didn't you?
Yeah. So our relationship with Barney's is an exclusive relationship for 12 months. They made a big commitment in us, and so we're making a commitment to make sure we deliver for them. Internationally, our first account was Mecca Cosmetica out of Australia. 27 luxury retail locations in Australia, 3 in New Zealand. and so that's our first international account, and internationally we're looking to grow in Europe and Asia next.
Well, you've actually, I think, grown into a thought leader in the industry. I know there was a morning I woke up and you did something like a dozen radio interviews. So people around the country, the media is picking up on this too. It's really become the new thing, hasn't it?
Yeah. So I think that those radio interviews was on skin damage, in summertime and what you can do to prevent sunburns. But yeah, it's always a topic of interest. Everyone wants to look their best, look younger if possible, and so skincare is it's a thriving industry.
Talk about where you see this going. I mean, do you see Bellatorra being a household name like any other skincare product?
So I had a very talented gentleman by the name of Jason Smith come on early on as our COO. Jason's 20 years in the industry, and he and I sat down and have a very detailed business plan. The company he was with prior was in 55 countries. We modeled a business plan after that. So we have aggressive plans for growth, but very kind of a very detailed outline for how we're going to do it.
Well, I want to tell you a true story about my daughter who's here. I'm going to just grab you and put you on the mic. She swears by this. I mean, I use it too, but she's your raving fan.
No, I'm the biggest fan of Bellatorra. I absolutely am obsessed with the skincare delivery system, and I'm not wearing any makeup today, if you can believe that, and I have Bellatorra to thank for that. I think the quality of skin has improved all over my face, and I love it.
And you're 25?
Yes.
I always get that wrong. I want to say
I'm 25.
I want to say 26 all the time. But she's the kind of daughter who, at the age of 22, was starting to furrow her brow just to try and create a line to justify Botox. And I haven't heard her talk about Botox since she started using the product.
It's funny. I remember, so Sarah and I, we had lunch one day, and she told me she was interested in Botox and anti-aging. Yeah, and I would have thought Sarah was 20, so I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway.
But the millennials, when you talk about your customer, I think the millennials are an interesting generation. I don't think they can even imagine getting old and having wrinkles. They don't see wrinkles on television. You watch any reality show, and the reality shows are, the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and they're wrinkle-free. So talk about your customers and how you're marketing to your customers.
Yeah, so our customer demographic is typically 35 years of age and older. Mm-hmm. Our product, it's an expensive product, so that fits a certain demographic as well. But they're women predominantly that care about their appearance. Some of them professionals and need to have a certain look or look their best either on camera. So that's we do have men too, but mostly mostly women customers.
Well, and I can't let you get away without talking about the packaging, because the packaging is kind of mind blowing. When you open up the package, you know that if you're giving this as a gift, you're giving somebody something.
Yeah.
Very
So
special.
the idea behind it was woman feeling like she's opening a present every time she gets the product. So we spent months and months getting that just right, in the scent of the product too. Spent, I think, 6 months of going back and forth in the R&D lab getting the scent just right. So the packaging and the appearance and the scent of the product was important.
Well, how can people get a hold of you and Bellatorra?
Yeah, so I've got a personal website, nathanhalsey.com, and then our company website's bellatorra.com.
You're amazing. I applaud you as a fellow entrepreneur, and I just thank you for being on the Jeff Crilley Show.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Awesome.